Welcome to Answer the Question. Last time I told you that in practice, there are actually 4 branches of the US government. And today, I'm going to tell you what that mystery branch is. The first branch that we'll talk about is the legislative branch. The legislative branch has 2 primary institutions, which are the houses of Congress. The House of Representatives, which is apportioned by population, and the Senate, which is apportioned equally between the states. The powers of the legislative branch come from Article 1 of the Constitution. There are 10 sections in it, but the most important one by far is Section 8, which lists out the 18 powers that Congress has. And in fact, they're only allowed to pass laws if they're within one of these 18 powers. These 18 powers are called the enumerated powers of Congress. The next branch that we'll talk about is the judicial branch. The judicial branch is set out in Article 3 of the Constitution, although technically the Constitution only specifically calls for the Supreme Court, and instead gives Congress the power to add additional lower courts as needed. This has led to the 3-tier system in the federal courts that we have today, with the Supreme Court at the top, followed by the federal appellate courts, and then at the bottom, the federal district courts. And then there are also some specialty courts which handle specific kinds of cases as well. Moving on to the next branch, we have the executive branch, which gets its powers from Article 2 of the Constitution, and most famously includes the president, the vice president, and the cabinet. The cabinet is actually not fixed in size. The people that have to be in the cabinet are the heads of the executive departments, of which there are currently 15. But the president also has the right to appoint additional official positions and elevate them to the cabinet level. And there are currently 10 positions that are elevated that way. And it's these top officials and the 15 departments that they head that make up the core of the executive branch. From here, though, it gets messy. And this is actually where our 4th branch is hidden. That branch is often called the administrative branch. And it's made up of all of the federal independent agencies. These are technically under the executive department, but they are not part of the executive office of the president, and they do not have cabinet members leading them. In fact, they are often specifically protected from presidential action because they exercise independent rulemaking and regulatory authority granted by Congress. That system of delegation is established by one of the most important laws we have, which is the APA, or Administrative Procedure Act of 1946. That's all for this one. The next few videos will be going into each of the branches and giving a deep dive into their structure, because each branch includes many more pieces than you might think. I'll see you then.